Trump opening an investigation to potential new tariffs on imports of all U.S. critical minerals, which go into batteries and consumer electronics. U.S. rare earth companies, MP Materials and Albemarle, among the names moving on today's news. CNBC's Pippa Stevens is looking at the money and the movers in the space. Hey, Pippa.
Hey, Melissa. Well, increasing domestic production of critical minerals has become a goal of this administration, with Interior Secretary Doug Burgum calling to, quote, mine, baby, mine. But it's not that easy, because while the U.S. does have mineral reserves, they're expensive to get out of the ground. Still, there is some domestic activity. MP Materials mines rare earths out in California. The stock is jumping because China, the dominant player, has halted exports. Albemarle has domestic lithium operations, while London operates a nickel mine out in Michigan. And then Rio Tinto and Freeport also have copper mines out west. But it's not nearly enough to meet domestic demand. The U.S. is 100% dependent on imports for 12 critical minerals, including graphite, and more than 50% dependent for another 31, including rare earths, cobalt, uranium, and nickel. That's according to the WRI. Plus, as Brian Beal from Benchmark told me, tariffs alone will not be enough to bolster domestic production. There's got to be permitting reform, as well as stable price signals that mobilize Wall Street. Melissa?
I mean, there has to be just entire sort of chains built, supply chains in effect, because, for instance, MP, they're really focus on light rare earths as opposed to the heavy rare earths, which are very expensive and difficult to separate.
Yeah, and not to mention that a lot of that is ultimately going to China to be refined, because China was very strategic in the sense that when they do have a lot of rare earths, but they don't have things like lithium. So instead, they focused on getting their refining and processing and smelting for copper up and running. And so a lot of the ore that's mined around the world goes to China. So in the case of MP Materials, that's mined here, goes to China, then comes back here. But it really is about creating all these new supply chains. And in the U.S., our challenge, of course, is permitting. It takes 29 years on average for a new mine to come online. That is the slowest in the world, behind only Zambia. And so the administration is talking about mining, but the reality is much different on the ground.